Hello, and welcome to Season 2 of Super Pros Bros. I am Player 2, Eli, and with me as always is...
Player 1, Ike, and Professor, did you know that this podcast is available on YouTube, SoundCloud, and Spotify?
What? I did not, Bronocchio. Are those the same places that they could
Like,
comment,
share,
and subscribe?
Yeah, I do believe so.
Wow. Well, fancy that.
Indeedly.
Alright, so...
What you been up to?
I've been up to... I got a good opportunity to hang out with my best friend Colt while he was in town. And yeah, that was a lot of fun actually. I got to go shooting for the first time in, I don't know, a decade.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I went and shot some clay pigeons. I actually hit something. I'm so proud of myself. I also had a range officer have to correct me about 9 times because I was mishandling firearms. God bless him and his patience. What a guy.
What were you doing wrong?
Nothing like super...
you weren't turning back towards the audience with a fucking loaded revolver?
At one point I was turning without the gun, because it was shotguns, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, if you're walking around, you basically open it. So effectively you disconnect any kind of live ammunition from a firing mechanism. And so, I was moving without, splitting it. At one point, I was turning a bit more than he was comfortable with towards other people.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was turning the gun to, discharge. And he's like, don't put it straight down. I was like, okay, I'm sorry. Little things like that.
Minor things.
They're pretty small. I wasn't just fucking swinging around like a lunatic, but it was enough movement. He was uncomfortable, and he's drill it in your head right.
Yeah.
Which he was really polite about it. No shade to him. Went and sang karaoke for the first time ever as well.
What was your first karaoke song?
First karaoke song I did was "Ain't No Rest for the Wicked" by Caged Elephant.
Nice. Classic.
Actually went pretty well. I had this giant dude tell me I had a beautiful voice, which is very nice.
Did you point at your wedding ring as you said thank you?
No, he didn't pursue the point. Otherwise, I might have been like, "All right, Sarah, you're gonna fucking shut the fuck out." I ended up singing "Be a Man" from Mulan with my friend, and absolutely sent it. And made the mistake of the last. I put in one more song request and got picked right before I was gonna go, so I'm like, I have to fucking do it. Which was Spaceman by the Killers, and my throat was absolutely thrashed. And I did it, and it hurt. It hurt so much, because his voice was so much higher for chorus. Yeah. It's not quite falsetto, so it's just like, oh, fuck you, Brandon Flowers. I was quietly saying under my throat.
Comes round.
No, I did think about doing the man, but it doesn't seem like it'd be that fun to do karaoke, actually.
Oh, wait, what'd you say you did? I heard
Spaceman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I debated doing Bones, but that would have been way rougher. But anyway. So, yeah, ton of fun. And then otherwise, I've started making myself edit again.
Woo!
Because that's a solid 3 months where I just wasn't doing that.
That's the other third of the writing process.
Yeah. So that has been good. Otherwise, I exist at work. I have too many people that want things from me, which is starting to be frustrating, but whatever. I've basically become responsible for training the children, and the children are trying to be independent, and they suck at it. So they're like, how do I do things? I'm like, shut the fuck up! That's how you do things. You get the fuck out of daddy's hair is how you do things. What about you? What you got going on?
I had this... You just gave me this really funny idea to, rename the writing process. If we ever wrote a book on writing, instead of calling it, writing, editing, production, we'd call it Magic, Murder, and Madness.
What?
Because you make something out of nothing, that's magic.
Sure.
You edit something, which is you kill aspects of the story you've written, that's murder. And then the production process is madness, because you feel like you're being gaslit and going insane.
You feel like pulling at your hair constantly.
Yeah,
sure. Okay.
And you're just and you feel like you're being told the truth, and then it's a lie, but it's nobody's fault.
Sure. All right. It's a bit of a slant, but I like it. Very, very, very targeted branding. I respect it.
All right, so Speaking of teaching children, I have actually gone from teaching children at my last job that I think I talked about. And then as of this last week, I just started at a different school and I am now a tutor, which is a lot more my speed and a lot more for the benefit of the children. So instead of me trying to corral a classroom, which is a just lost effort, like it's just never going to happen, I am just teaching kids that more or less want to learn. And so I'm getting to just help the kids find the answer. Sometimes learning what the answer is myself, because some of this stuff is a little bit outside my memory. So I have to actually kind of do schoolwork with them, which is kind of fun. But a little bit more driving, but a lot more kind of peace of mind. So I'm really enjoying it, although it's only been the first week. But started doing that. Won the second magical styled qualifier of this season, so now I have nothing to do on my weekends. Hopefully it'll get me back to writing.
Nothing to do. Fuck it. Done. Over it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just like there's nothing, by and large, after you qualify right now, the amount of tournaments you can go to that like are kind of fun or that your friends are going to, at least for me, is like really low. So now I kind of don't have much to do in that aspect.
Gotcha.
You know, other than, you know, train for the upcoming big tournament that's in April. And yeah, this gives me plenty of time to write, which is good because I need all the time in the world apparently to get anything done. But yeah, I think it's yeah, and a close third is I'm moving.
You know, casually. That little life event.
So right now, living in a place that costs $12.50 plus utilities, which in LA is actually a decent deal.
Sure.
My room's the size of a shoebox, but whose isn't?
Yeah, you're in LA.
Yeah. But a friend of mine at the cart shop has probably one of the cheapest rents that I know of in Los Angeles. It's a room that's, I think it's it's probably like 20 more square foot in my room. Is that right? 20 square feet's not that much. Like, it's like, I think the room is 9 feet long, or 9 feet wide for both of ours, but his is like 2 feet longer than mine is. So that's 9 times 2 is 18, so 18 square feet, I guess, more. But it's a little bit bigger. It doesn't have much of a living room. It's in a better part of town, or a part of town I prefer more.
Sure.
Although, and here's the beats. It doesn't come with parking. It doesn't come with a washer dryer, and it doesn't come with a dishwasher. The last one is probably the least offensive beat because I wash a lot of my stuff by hand at the moment anyway.
Sure.
However, you know, with all those strikes, it does cost $500 less a month.
I mean, the biggest bitch is like parking.
Yeah, so I actually found a place that's going to make it less like $500 less a month and more like $400, because there's a place that it's a 13-minute walk from my new residence that is $120 a month for parking.
How far?
It's a 13-minute walk.
That's not the worst.
No, it's not that bad. It's like a little under half a mile.
Okay.
And it's like,
like sucks if you have groceries.
Sucks if I have groceries, for sure. Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that.
Well, I guess you could just like fucking pull up to your apartment, like flip your hazards, sprint stuff in, and run back and go park.
Yeah, probably that's what's going to happen.
Options.
There's a lot of there's a lot of people sketch parking in LA, especially that area of LA, for some amount of time. Like when I went and checked out the place, there was 2 people parked in the middle of the street because it was like 11 at night, and they just like put their brake lights on and just like left their car running for like tens of minutes. Like nobody gave a shit. So it's like, meh.
Fair enough.
But definitely the saving of money is not coming at a cost though, which is kind of a beat, but it's also a lot of saving of money. And as somebody that is a tutor and has a lot of credit card debt to get off,
saving money.
Saving hundreds of dollars a month is pretty juice. And also living in an area that I like a lot more. As much as the parking is nice here and like the amenities inside the house, like there's nothing to do here. I have to drive to go anywhere. And living in K-Town, it's like, oh, I want to go get a burrito, I can walk somewhere. I want to do like a little bit of shopping, there's a lot of like opportunities to walk and do things, which I like. And also the people I'm living with, I know, and I'm one of, it's going to be interesting to see how much friends they are, and how much they go from friends to roommates to enemies, and like where that goes on the list.
See how that progresses.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, just that little ditty's what just fell into my lap. And it fell into my lap literally the other day. I was hanging out at the card shop where I'm known to, hang. And randomly one of the guys I knew the guy who, he effectively rents out the place.
Yeah.
He, sublets it for the landlord, who's really chill with and hasn't, another reason to move in there, he hasn't raised the rent in, 7 years or something. And he walked in, he goes, yeah, I think I'm going to have to move out. And I was like, because I knew who he was talking to, I knew what place he had, knew how much the price was. I was like, what? Just intently, watching and listening from a distance. I was going to try to play it coy and be like, hey, but before I could even say anything, the guy's like, yeah, so he's moving out. Did you want that spot? You had talked about wanting it previously. I was like, yes.
Don't out me, but also yes.
Anyway, so that's what's going on in our world. What's going on the old Chatterooski today? What are we talking about?
We're gonna talk about some bad movies.
Bad
Not just
movies.
any bad movies. We're talking about bad movies that are so bad that they're kind of good.
How bad are they?
So there is everyone knows about good bad movies, right? Movies that are so just stupid, so dumb, that they've transcended being absolute schlocky trash to being amusing and entertaining.
It's like a kid's musical, but instead of them remembering the words and being off pitch, they didn't remember the words and they all sang a different song.
Yeah, it's an absolute fucking train wreck that you don't know how to look away from in the best kind of way.
Yeah. So first up.
Yeah, so we've tried to do our best to narrow it to kind of where does that line get drawn? What makes a good bad movie versus just a bad
movie?
Yeah, exactly. So our first quality on the good side of things.
Oh, we're gonna do good side first?
Or do you have a preference? You want to do bad side? You want to get
let's leave them with something nice as opposed to something annoying.
Okay, fair enough. All right, then you here to start us off with the bad qualities?
So one of the biggest bad qualities is somebody who is a deacon of dialogue, a lover of language, if you will, is when the dialogue is 87% terrible. They clearly tried.
Shit.
But they came up short. This is one of the things we're going to note is that in the bad movies, they are ones that had a budget. They are ones from people that have done this before. There is no reason they should have fallen flat. A lot of the ones that are going to be in our good bad qualities, you'll notice are slightly different. And I think some of that is expectation. So with these, they set up the expectation in the telling of the story and in the having writers having a lot of money that this would be decent, and then it not only isn't decent, but it's not so bad that it's comical. It's just mostly bad to where it's just disappointing.
Yeah, it's you had an expectation and it has fallen short in a disastrous way.
A couple examples of this would be as cliche as it is, Star Wars is, I don't like sand. It gets everywhere.
Of course. It gets everywhere.
It gets everywhere. It's who wrote this?
Why is this here?
Another great one is from Mortal Kombat Annihilation, where upon finding out that their mother not only isn't dead, she's on the other team, and out of nowhere is, at this Mount Olympus doom scenario.
Yeah.
Which she goes, Mother, you're alive.
But soon you will die.
Nobody talks like that.
It's terrible.
And it's not so terrible that it doesn't make sense. If she was potato milkshake butt fart, I'd be like, all right, what's happening here? I would have a grin on my face. But when they're trying to make sense And
it's completely serious. I think that's the most terrible part, is that it's like, if they fucking cracked a smile at the camera, it'd be hilarious.
Yeah, it would have been the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Funniest goddamn thing on earth.
But
it's complete deadpan.
Yeah.
It's completely sincere.
Yeah. The last one that's a good example of this is Showgirls. And I think part of it is they're trying to cover something that just, like, the way they were trying to cover the movie just didn't fit with what was being covered. Like, they're trying to make this, like, dramatic role, but they're also putting it in the skeezy kind of world of, like, stripping, and the way they're showing it skeezy, for the record, not that I think it's skeezy. And then there's all these lines of, like, she used to work at a strip club, is trying to become a showgirl in Las Vegas. Her old boss sees her after something, he goes, must be weird for somebody to not come on you afterwards. It's like, fucking what is happening? Like, did I just have a stroke? Like, this is lines that are so bad they would never get used in porn, and they should not be getting used in a movie that cost millions of dollars. Yeah, you can't, the story aside, like, you just can't have lines that read comically but then are acted seriously and meant to be serious. Like, you can do that if you're, like, if you look at a lot of Coen Brothers movies, they write lines to be told seriously that are clearly hilarious, and they want the audience to laugh at it, and it creates this interesting dichotomy. That is not what Showgirls, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, or Star Wars were even thinking about doing. They just had somebody have a stroke while writing out words, and then nobody edited it.
Yeah. And to be fair, humor is one of those things that is intangible, and, like, occasionally jokes land flat, but none of the lines we've just mentioned were meant to be a joke.
Yeah.
Like, if they were, the delivery was so bad that it so perfectly missed the mark.
Yeah. Like, kudos. You reverse-threaded the needle.
You hit 0% on the test. That's impressive.
You missed the Titanic standing 2 feet away with a rocket launcher.
Like you threw the bottle backwards. You didn't throw it forwards. You threw it backwards into the crowd. You hit a pregnant woman. Congratulations.
You now owe alimony.
What? Alimony?
We're talking about bad dialogue.
It's fair enough.
It's leading into it.
Alright, our next thing on the fucking list of just, dear God, why, is a lack of continuity. And so, by this we mean where, like, people's decisions don't make sense, where actions and repercussions don't make any fucking logical sense, where it's like, A to B later does not equal A to B anymore. And it just leaves you scratching your head going, but why, though? An easy example, and since we fucking bashed on an old Mortal Kombat, let's bash on the newer Mortal Kombat. There's a lot of shit where if you go, but wait, why? It makes zero fucking sense. For example, they make a supervillain with Goro. They introduce him. She never talks, which is stupid. But they have the main character, who is pathetic. He is trash. And then he gets superpowers and just instantly beats Goro, who is trumped up to be, like, the second strongest person in the thing. They have their benefactor in, like, the lightning god, who doesn't want to help them cheat, but then later just kind of says, fuck it, and starts helping them cheat. They have, like, one chick just gets superpowers because they kill someone else, and so she gets his ticket to the tournament, but everyone else has to do something to earn their superpowers.
Obviously.
But she just gets them, like, on principle, I guess.
She's been a good girl. She deserves superpowers, too.
Yeah, and for some reason, Scorpion, who lived in fucking feudal Japan, says nothing else in English, can say, get over here, in perfect, like, American dialogue. Like, it's not even, like, the Japanese, like, come over here, or, like, something weird where it's, like, super inflection. Like, inflection's weird if you're a native English speaker. Like, it's not that. It's, get over here. But then he goes straight back to speaking Japanese and seems to understand no other English. Like,
actively doesn't understand English?
Like, I don't think, like, I don't exactly remember, but, like, he doesn't say another word in English. Like, it's so stupid. It's like, why? Why any of this?
Gotta play to the fans.
I think it actually would have been cooler to just have him say, come over, like, get over here in Japanese. I think I would have appreciated that more.
Yeah, considering it sounds like everything with the design of the movie, it sounds like it was supposed to be realistic, right? Like that.
To a point, yes.
To a point. But, like, they're playing, like, really hard with, like, the history and, like, characters having context and being from different areas. Like, if you're going to do that, lean hard in. Or...
Yeah, the shitty part, too, being that the best part of the movie, by a country mile, is the start, where it is, like, old, like, Scorpion and Sub-Zero fighting, like, having basically a sword fight in, like, old-timey feudal Japan. And that is... by a country mile, the best part of the movie. They're just fucking downhill from there.
You hate to see it.
Yeah, I hate to see it.
What else did we hate to see when it comes to lack of continuity?
Lack of continuity, we need to talk about Altered Carbon. And this fucking shit show. What pisses me off... a number of things. What pisses me off is that it started with a kind of cool premise.
Okay.
And I hate it because I got invested a little bit. Holy fuck, is it bad. It's unapologetically bad. So, here's the biggest gripe for this, is that the main character is called an envoy, quote unquote. That doesn't mean anything. It's never explained. It's never justified. It's never given, like, appropriate fucking context. So the whole thing is like envoys like this special group of people, and they like at the beginning he has like superpowers, like he has thermal vision, like he sees people through a fucking wall. He never does that again.
Because why would you?
And they talk about, at one point they talk about somebody having an envoy body, like, because someone gets, like, his old body, and, like, they talk about it being an envoy body, but at no point, like, they talk about him changing sleeves, which is bodies, like it's going out of style. Like, he's never been particularly attached to having a specific body. So it's like, so what does that actually mean? Are they born different? Do they have a different... It's never fucking rationalized. It's never consistent. Like... He at one point, so if it's tied to his body, then with his just fucking random shit sack body, he breaks out of like this mental torture prison thing casually, just like pushes himself out because, you know, reasons, which is also one of the dumbest episodes ever watched. It's so bad. There's like 5 minutes of this chick just saying like break the simulation or something. Just like, what the fuck? Like, what? It's nonsense! It's fucking nonsense. Make sense. Be consistent, you fuck.
Well, my co-host takes a breath.
If I could get a hold of myself.
If I may interject, another one that is a good showing of lack of continuity is The Harder They Fall, where there's a lot of style to the movie, but there's also a lot of story setup that makes you believe that this is more than just a visual kind of show. That there's, like, you know, something deeper, some more story going on.
Sure.
And yet, there is, and slight spoiler alert, although, again, you shouldn't see this movie, I don't think, or at least not with any give a fuck about the story. The story is set up that this guy killed... It starts off with this scene. Kid is at dinner with his family. Both his mom and dad die in front of him, and he gets marked by this guy.
Sure.
Later on, you find out this kid comes after him to get vengeance against the guy that killed his family. He's killed everybody but one person who's supposed to be in prison, gets released, goes and follows after him. The thing is, the guy who's the main character's dad, who dies in the beginning from the hands of this other guy, was the dad to the other guy. And the reason he kills him is that so he would come kill him to do this vengeance feud. Yeah. Also beats 9 pounds of shit out of him at one point, when again, all he wants him to do is kill him, which the guy has way enough, like, ammunition in his life, you know, killed his dad. Like, given any opportunity, this guy will kill him, which is what he wants him to do. but the whole entire movie is set up so that he will kill him, even though that's what he's literally wanted to do the whole entire time. So all you would have to do is sit on a chair and, like, wait for this guy, and the guy would come kill him. So, like, does he need him to know? If he needs him to know, why didn't he tell him earlier? There's, like, so many things where they're trying to be, like, cute, pay homage to the old kind of, like, brother vengeance thing, but it doesn't actually do it in any cohesive manner where it makes sense. Also, like, yeah, just so much what. Like, it like, with the main like the big plot points, there's also, like, he takes over this town and asks for money and kills a guy, and it doesn't really matter at all, especially considering the guy's trying to get himself killed, and this is not for the longevity of the town or anything to do with other than seemingly being a villain. But it's like he clearly has good-hearted ideals at differing points. I don't know. It just, like, doesn't. No. Like, it. I really would have liked this movie a lot more if it just, like, dialed it up and went, fuck it, and just didn't have so much of this. Like, it doesn't need to have half this story, and it doesn't do anything for it, and it, like, trips over it constantly. It's like, just have this be a gunfight movie like you are making it out to be. Lose 80% of the story because nobody gives a fuck. Just have it be a vengeance tale. We don't need this, like, oh, I killed your dad because he was my dad and he killed my mom. It's like, cool. Also, like, this setup is dumb. Just have you be an asshole. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, be a bad guy. You're, like, they're so comically bad in the coolest way possible to then, like, try to dial in this story that just doesn't do anything. Motherfucker, why? All right, I need to take a breath. Sir, the microphone.
Take a breath. So last thing I kind of want to hit for continuity in general is superhero movies and shows in general are often bad about continuity. And to a degree, you kind of have to be willing to give some, suspension of disbelief. Cause
what? People can't fly?
I know. But there's certain times where, like, and if a universe wants to make its own rules, and, like, one of the rules is basically everyone can take a superpowered punch to the mouth, like, I'm kind of okay with it to a degree, right? Like, it is what it is. However, there's some notable exceptions where it's just like, but no. One of the most egregious for me, and why I stopped watching the show, was My Hero Academia, where, like, one dude gets pushed through concrete, like, and he has no sort of super stamina, super strength, nothing that would justify him, survive being pushed through concrete. And, like, gets up and then runs super fast. I'm like, he doesn't have super speed. Why is he suddenly so fast? Like, he hasn't taken super steroids. He hasn't been given some kind of superpower, like, gifted a superpower from someone else. He's just like, fuck it, and just runs like the Flash. Yeah, I'm just like, his superpower is to make things turn to dust, which, banging power, but it doesn't do this.
It don't do that?
And you make this guy who you're like, he's so strong, and he's super strong, and, like, but you're just shrugging hits off from him, and, like, oh yeah, to add insult to injury, the guy hasn't slept in, like, 3 days or something. Like, he's delirious with exhaustion, but he's just, like, no problem tank and punch. Like, fuck you. Like, come on. It feels insulting at a certain point where you're just like, rules be damned. Like, no.
Rules? What rules?
Yeah. Anyways, what is our next topic of places where things just absolutely shit the bed?
So, last but not least in the bad qualities category, and this kind of is going to be, this is a very good emblematic note for the way we look at this, at where bad movies are bad and where bad movies become kind of good. There's this premise, especially in visual storytelling, when it comes to representation, especially when using 3D technology or any kind of just camera recorded visage, and it's the uncanny valley. This is when you see this especially in animation. In animation, like traditional 2D animation, think like Jungle Book or something like that, it's clearly fake. And then you have movies shot on a camera tripod, like James Bond or Jackie Chan or anything like that. Clearly 2D. There's no added, later James Bond's added effects, but like Kung Fu movies, it's all, especially Chinese Kung Fu movies from the 80s, it's all exactly what you're seeing. Somewhat to bone-crunching degrees.
Sure.
And then you get stuff in the middle. Like, if you look back at, God bless it, the first Toy Story, for example. Granted, this is more of a product of its time and not a product of bad effects.
That's more technical limitation than anything else.
But that one is, if you look at the humans in the first Toy Story, yeah, my God.
Yeah, Sid is a monster.
Sid is a monster. The younger sister, Jesus Christ. It is horrifying. Also, it's, 1999, and they're just creating the technology at ILM or whatever.
Yeah. I say that one gets a bit of a pass.
That one gets a bit of a pass. But the Uncanny Valley is where you kind of blend genres. You don't quite go far enough in one direction or the other, and you end up finding this weird hidden valley. Or Uncanny Valley. Not hidden valley. Uncanny Valley.
Ranch.
Yeah. So a good showcasing of this that got fixed, thankfully, but if any of you are out there remember, the first trailer for the live-action Sonic 1 that came out was so bad that they took...
teeth. Oh.
Yeah, the teeth, the nose, the eyes, everything was horrifying. I'm sure you can find versions of it on YouTube, but Sony wisely listened to the mob at their gates with pitchforks and torches saying, "Kill it with fire!"
Yeah.
That they took it back and reanimated it. Took millions of dollars and months to do, but then got a very appreciable reaction and have since made a second one that there's no fucking way they would have. They did the opposite of Morbin time and listened to correct responses and did something about it.
Yeah.
Another example would be
Polar Express, and this is exacerbated a bit by the style of animation, but there are examples where this animation doesn't look wrong. The biggest one being Tintin proved that this style of animation can look right, and doesn't look terrible. However, Polar Express looks. People look like they don't have skulls. They have a weird egg-shaped ball for a head. It's not right. It's
let's
off
crack them
enough.
up and make an omelet.
Yeah, your mouth shape isn't wrong. You don't have enough detailed and features and it's wrong. I don't, without a picture to do a side by side, it's hard to really properly contextualize. I feel like, but if you know, you know. And it's very much just it's not far enough away to be this anime is an example where the humans aren't human so much, but this is not quite far enough. So it's that bad middle ground. What's another example of the bad middle ground, or bad?
Again, this is one of those ones that I'm not... I think we're going to skate past this one because I'm not entirely sure how bad this was versus the technology at the time. But one of the other ones in line with Sonic and Toy Story's Eric Bana's, I think it's 2003's Hulk. Part of this is, I think, the technology at the time. Part of this is Uncanny Valley, and I'm not sure where to make up my mind on that one. But that's something that we thought to talk about, but I'm going to put it as a note and that before moving on to the real just horror show that is 2019 Cats.
Yeah.
Put on a skin suit and shit your pants. This is just fuck me levels of disturbing. Not only on just the writing aspect of it, the million pounds of this doesn't actually make any fucking sense with the source material that they are aggressively pulling from. They get some of the beats wrong. But then there's also the casting, which fucking kill me. And then you have the suits. Just...
Yeah.
As somebody who grew up watching anthropomorphic animals do shit, I just immediately couldn't. My suspension of disbelief is very high in that I'm willing to take a lot of things in stride. My love of anthropomorphic animals and like good old school kind of fun cheesy biz is very palatable, and this, no.
This is if they made Sonic as a full movie. Like it's they just made him taller.
Yeah. Sonic the musical.
Yeah, listen, when you have anthropomorphic animals with human teeth, there's a big fucking no. Like, there's just a big fucking no. Like, that is not right.
Blending too many things in too many directions.
No. Like, it's just a hard no from me, dog.
I think part of this comes in the fact that, like, one of the reasons anthropomorphic animals work so well in 2D is because of that suspension of disbelief. You're not trying to make them... You're making them human-like, not human-like, if that makes sense.
Yes. That's part of it. And I think another big part of it, too, is that it's so very clearly drawn. Like, it's not someone in a mocap suit.
Yeah.
Like, that's another big part of it. Is it's a badger on two legs with kind of awkward body proportions versus, like, that's a person with weird fucking face paint. And a skin suit.
Yeah. Like, I think they want to harvest my organs.
Yeah. It is one of those odd intangible things, but, like, when you see it, you fucking know. And you're like, oh, no, get it out. Alright, moving off the so bad it's bad quality, to the so bad it's good.
If I may.
You may.
There's one thing that fit outside these categories that, again, footnote and then moving on. There is 24 blank movies, whether it be scary movie, hero movie, romance, like any of those. I don't remember who they were made by. 1 second. It was David Zucker and Sean Wans, it looks like, who are the creators. David Zucker specifically. That kind of came in later. And they've made a gaggle of these movies. The problem is these kind of, as we were discussing this earlier, these kind of fit outside the paradigm of what is a bad movie and a good bad movie. Because while they are self-aware, to some people they're comedies insufferable and just tone deaf and stupid. And to other people it's the funniest thing ever. No. So we decided to leave these outside of our besmirchment and congratulation categories because we didn't know what the fuck to do with them.
Yeah, they're in a very odd league of their own.
So without further ado,
moving away from them, we've got the qualities of what makes a good bad movie, and one is just being extra. And I don't have a cleaner way to put that, but the easiest example I think is Sharknado. It is so outlandishly over the top that you can't imagine a world where it was potentially taken seriously. And it's so bananas bonkers fever dream that you're here for it. I mean, jump into a shark with a chainsaw cut through its stomach. What the fuck?
Let's go.
What are we talking about? What is happening here?
I don't know, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, exactly. It's just psycho bonkers crazy. And you'd be like, all right. I mean, either you're here to play or you're just like, well, I'm turning this off in 5 minutes. And that's really the only choices you get. You have another example of movies that are absolutely unapologetically extra?
Freddy Got Fingered, in name alone. Fucking silly.
What a name.
What a name. What a name. What a mighty fine name. So, Freddy Got Fingered is a movie that came out late 90s, early 2000s, starting... Freddy Got Fingered came out in 2001. It was directed and starred Tom Green and Rip Torn. And if you know who Tom Green is, it is all the Tom Greening one can handle in a sitting. It is just insanity from the get-go. I believe, I don't remember if it's the opening or the closing shot, is Tom Green playing a piano with like rope around each of his fingers, that above him, overlaid on like a shower curtain, are a bunch of sausages, and he's playing this really terribly out of tune thing. He's just like singing, "Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like some sausages?" Just like playing the piano horrifically. It's like that gives you an idea of what the fuck you are in for. So yeah, Extra is the most mild way to describe that movie. But it is just bonkers. Don't know if it's good bonkers, but it is bonkers.
It's absolutely bananas bonkers. All right.
Extra bonk. So,
the last one we're going to submit for being absolutely extra and fucking psycho bonkers crazy is Kung Pao, which is... I remember seeing this movie. I think I've seen this movie exactly once, and it made such an impression that I remember it pretty vividly. Because I remember, like, the first 60 seconds... I mean, it was like a baby being tossed down a cliff. Like, or just rolling down a hillside for, like, a minute. Like, and then it has him talk about him traveling and he's walking. And sometimes he drove. And it's like fucking feudal Japan again. I'm sorry, this would be China, what am I talking about? But then he goes from walking to driving, and it's got the main character in a Corvette, and he never has the car again. It's just, he randomly has a Corvette for 5 seconds. And then talks about him partying with the desert animals. Like, what is happening? And the first fight scene you get to watch when he's an adult is he punches a dude in the stomach, and like this block of jello comes out, and the narrator goes, he just punched out a guy's stomach blood. And there's just like this circle cut out of the dude. Like, it's so... This is all within 5 minutes, I'm pretty sure. Maybe 10. Like, all of these events, 5 or 10 minutes in, it sets the mood where it's like, we're going places. Get on board, motherfucker. Like, it's just... And the dubbing is very purposefully awful.
Yeah.
It's like 5 seconds delayed. It's just...
Oh, yeah.
It's so bad. It's great. Yeah.
Well, you know the backstory behind how this movie happened, right?
I genuinely don't.
So, we're talking about Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
Yes.
And the director is the same person that's the writer, same person that's the star, and Steve Oedekerk. Oedekerk? Oedekerk. That's a name.
Oedekerk, I don't know.
Yeah. So, he buys the rights to this, so this movie, by and large, is effectively found footage. He bought the rights to like an old kung fu movie.
Okay.
Took and refilmed it with his character over the top, and then created a new story.
Okay.
So that's why it's like so aggressively dubbed, is because nobody else is technically in the movie. Everybody else that was in the movie wasn't in the movie, and so he's using like the old stuff, and so he got people to come in and do voice acting for the roles of the other characters. And that's why the dubbing is so late, amongst other things. But so this movie is effectively found footage, and just like,
amazing.
Takes and just like made it his own. Just so amazing. So next up, after being extra, what makes a bad movie good?
So there is where you're very in on the joke, and you know that you know. So So when it's a kind of a deliberate B movie moment. So an example of this would be the movie Zombievers.
Zombiever.
Yeah, I mean, it sets up it gives itself some context where, like, it opens with 2 comedians, like, dumping a radioactive barrel of waste into a fucking lake.
As you do.
It's like Bill Burr and I forget who.
Continue while I look that up.
Okay. And like, that's how it opens. And they're like, I wonder if this is going to cause a problem. Like, no, we'll be fine. Like, that's... Like, that's the joke. Like, it's so clearly knows that it's going to be dumb. Like, and it's fine with this. And when you take just a garbage... I mean, beavers turning into zombies is the dumbest thing ever. Like, that is a bad first grade paper. Like, a bad first grade story. Like, kids in first grade would hear that and go, that's stupid. Like, not a hard audience, and that's still a bad sell. But when you just push it, roll with it, give it the full 9, and you know that it's stupid, we're here for it. Like, it is so outlandish and like a wink and a nod to the audience, it feels like, that it is enjoyable.
Alright, you ready to get your head blown off?
Sure.
The other person that he's talking to, I did not know this. This is fucking news to me. So the opening and the closing of this movie are Bill Burr and fellow guy driving in a truck. And shenanigans ensue. You know, this is how we make the Zombievers and so on and so forth. The fucking guy that's the other dude in the truck is John fucking Mayer. Yes, the millionaire rock star John Mayer is the other guy that's in, like... He's, like, wearing shades. He's got, like, a wig on, a hat on, and, like, a fake-ass mustache. I did not realize it was John fucking Mayer. What the fuck? That's amazing.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, my gosh. Another movie that is along this intentional B-movie, let's make some schlocky good times, is Birdemic. Now, those of you that haven't seen Birdemic or Zombiever, we forgive you. You should go see them, but we forgive you. Birdemic is a movie that was made in, I don't know when, for too little.
It's the cheapest thing you've ever seen.
Oh, God, it's so cheap. But they've made, holy shit, they've made 4. Or they're making a 4th, sorry.
Oh my god.
Please let it be the same people. James Wynn. Nice! Awesome, love it. Same writer-director is making a 4th one. It's in the works, baby. Yeah, the 3rd one came out this last year. Birdemic 3. Sea Eagle. So, the first Birdemic, God bless him, James Wynn knows that it's going to be, like, they're not going to have money, it's going to be whack, and so they just, in post, put in these, like...
Put in fucking, like, gifs of birds.
Yeah, just like... gifs of birds that added in, like, clip art sound effects. It's so perfect. But it just, he knew what kind of movie he was making, and he knew what kind of budget he had, and used it very much to advantage. And, like, that's what a lot of, you know, like, what is it? Necessity is the mother of all invention. Like, this is just ingenuity at its finest. Realizing realizing the lane that you have to operate in, and the gas you have to put in your buggy, and, like, finding the best way to success. And hats off to you, James Wynn. You're living the dream. In like 13 years, you've made 4 movies that you wanted to make. Clearly wanted to make. Love it.
There's no way you didn't enjoy this after the first one.
Yeah. Last but not least, we have acting so terrible
that it becomes amusing. And this is partially what prompted this topic, is the classic, you know it, you love to hate it, it's The Room. You're tearing me apart, Lisa. It's so
Oh, hi, Johnny.
hokey.
You're my favorite customer.
It's so hokey. It's impossible to not have some frame of reference for this movie. And everyone has the same question when you get exposed to it the first time of, like, surely not. Like, that can't be real. Can it? Like it's acting so bad it seems impossible. It's like there's flat acting. Absolutely. There's just, like, drier than fucking Texas. Like, you know, we need to turn around now.
Yeah.
Like sad, deadpan, unemotive shit. Sure. But that's not this. It's very emotive. It's just... It's wrong. It's so ridiculous. It's inappropriately ridiculous. Like dancing at a funeral is inappropriate. Like... and you just wonder, like... It can't be real, can it? Surely not. And so, yeah.
To the point that I actually, like, I think this last week, I showed a friend of mine who is not, he watches a fair amount of film, but not, like, he's not a cinephile in any way.
Yeah,
and he'd never seen this movie and didn't know about it. And I was trying to explain it to him, and he's like, no. I just showed him a clip of it, and I've never seen his eyes get that big in my life. He's just like, this can't be, like, they did this on purpose, right? It's like, I don't think so. I think it's just the most happy of accidents. There's somebody trying to make a movie the best way they know how, and we getting this gift.
This is just absolute fucking disaster you cannot tear your eyes away from.
But the best part about this, and the next one we're going to talk about, that is just genuine B-movie schlock that is great, is that it was made... People were trying, and this is not to the part to be mocked or laughed at, people tried to make this movie good. They didn't know what they were doing. Which is why, like, very much of the when we were talking about this, it is like, you know, kids getting the words wrong at, like, a second grade recital. Is it funny? Yes. Are the kids stupid and should be mocked for making it? No. Is it so funny? Absolutely. This is so great. Tommy Wiseau's The Room is just amazingly terrible.
Yeah.
But the beauty of it is that it was intended to be made well. They just didn't know what they were doing. So it's one of those nice kind of middle grounds. The reason that we don't make fun of this one, it's so good, is that also the expectation is really low.
Yeah.
Whereas when you look at, like, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, Showgirls, Altered Carbon, Newer,
they had
Combat,
budget, they
Cats,
had name,
they had
like...
every reason to succeed, and they fucked it. This one, they had no reason, didn't, so they met expectation, but tried their damnedest and just fucked the cat so much that you get this awesome result.
Yeah, it's so ugly, it's kind of adorable.
And if you want to see more of that, and you can't get enough of The Room, check out all of Neil Breen's catalog. Sweet baby Jesus. It is... This one, I feel like at a certain point, he should start figuring out how to make a better movie, because he's made like 8. And they are just like... I've seen home movies in, like, first YouTube short attempts with more craft. The line, like, oh my gosh, he killed himself. I can't believe this. Why? Ted, you had so much to live for. That I am not. That's almost a dead-on read. It is just... just YouTube Neil Breen anything. It is a treat. In fact, we'll give you a great opportunity right now to do that as we go to commercial break.
Do you enjoy glorifying serial killers and worshiping crime in all its forms? What? No, of course not. But do you? Don't worry. You're not alone. There are tons of people who get a thrill hearing about the horrible, wacky, and sadistic things that the worst of us will do to one another. And thanks to the forced incarceration of the world during COVID, the desire for true crime documentaries has only ballooned into a social phenomenon rivaled only by the MCU. And whether you want to look at crimes gone wrong, bank robberies gone sideways, or just some of the truly awful and twisted and sadistic things from the minds of Ted Bundy and the like, you can be sure that you'll find someone to narrate it at you in a pace that is just too slow for normal conversation. What are you waiting for? Find your correct criminal today. And welcome back, everybody. So, Isaac, what do you got in the old brain box?
So I had this really... talking about B-movies, I had this really silly idea of what if... So they've done the inverse of this. I think they have a show literally called... Let me double check on this, but I think they have a show called The Cleaner. that is based around this idea, or like maybe a movie. Hold on, now I need to look this up. So I think there was like, there's been multiple movies and TV shows called The Cleaner, codenamed The Cleaner, something along those lines. Most of which that I remember seeing stuff for involves a person assumed to not be a serial killer or to become like a hitman, to like be put in that awkward situation. So, you know, kind of mistaken identity, fish out of water kind of circumstance.
Yeah.
My idea would be a cleaner, you know, a hitman that's just over it. He's like done with the game. He doesn't want to be a part of killing anymore. He doesn't like his bosses, whatever. I haven't come up with the logic yet. And is just cleaning up a room one day and gets the opportunity, gets like hired, you know, they're like, wow, you're doing a really good job. Who do you work for? And he's like, oh, I don't have a person. And he gets hired to work as a cleaning person at like a nice hotel or a motel or something like trivial. Yeah. And it's this person that worked at the height of their game, kind of taking a step back and just enjoying doing something that they're like proud of, and like, you know, doing something that positively affects society. Obviously their past comes back to, you know, kind of deal with them. They have to, if it's a TV show, you occasionally have them kill a guy, or, you know, sure, still show that they got it and send them on their way. If it's a movie, you have that be the climax point where they have to, you know, their hidden backstory gets put out in the open and they have to explain it, and the love interest falls in love with them, and then they save the day and then drive off into the sunset. Naturally. But just the idea of a cleaner just being like so good at cleaning because they had to, like, you know, kill a guy and then make all the chance that they did it go away. Yeah. It was just kind of a funny notion to me. And so I kind of wanted to like write a skit or like an episode of a cleaner cleaning.
Well, I've been thinking about something kind of on the same veins, just less comical. Because
pray tell.
My wife, God bless her, is one of those people. One of those. It's going to be kind of spiteful. I don't know what it is, but it feels like every woman I've talked to has this weird obsession with true crime. I don't get it. It's like I'm like 24 for 25 out of women I know loving this shit. Like,
only person that doesn't are her mother.
Yeah, okay, 24 for 26. But like, and so I like in the background there's like this constant stream of like buried the body in the backyard, and like just. So I was thinking about like, all right, so what would be the best way to do like home invasion? And what if there was someone who's like really good at like, basically like a professional criminal, like in the creepiest manner possible, like, because we can't have him look respectable.
No,
so,
hell
like,
no.
No, and so, you know, pick someone out and then following someone back and like, you know, he's good at it. You got the little details like walking in lockstep with someone so they don't hear the extra footfall behind them, and you know.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Lockstep?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're walking in sync with someone, you're in lockstep.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, so walking in lockstep with someone so they don't hear the footfall behind them. And, you know, like, really good at, like, jimmying open doors, and, you know, have the little glass cutter so you can reach in and unlock stuff. All the horrible things. See, it just makes someone really, really good at it. And just never give them a name. Just have them be a creep. And just watch over their shoulder as they just do crime. Like, that's... I need to stop hearing so much murder and, you know, breaking and entering and, like, God, Jesus. There's too much of it. And it is actively infecting my brain currently. But off of that creepy topic, what is something you would recommend that the people actually watch?
Oh, well, I've got a creepy movie for him. I don't think I've talked about this somehow, and I need to double check. I feel like I have to have talked about this, but I don't think I have.
I think you've talked about it with me, but I think that is it.
Yeah, I just looked through our Google Doc. The movie Uncut Gems is one of the most awesome, disturbing, great movies you'll see. The way it has been described to me and the way I felt about it is as you are watching a panic attack and feeling it at the same time. It is so good at making you feel uncomfortable and like engaged in an uncomfortable circumstance.
Yeah.
That you just can't look away. This is also one of the best acting performances by Adam Sandler, if not the best. It is so fucking good. So it stars Adam Sandler as a fine jewelry shop owner or manager. I don't know if he technically owns the place. Either way, he runs it, and he's got a gambling addiction.
Yeah.
Insanity ensues, and it is just so fucking amazing. The Safdie brothers did it. They're the guys behind Good Times. What else have they done? So they did Good Times. They did Uncut Gems. What else did they do? They did one more movie before that. Oh, they did Straight Hustle. Heaven Knows What? Is that what it was? They've done a couple of movies. It is so fucking amazing. I literally cannot just... It's the best. It is such good way of showing how you can take high art, and it doesn't always have to be this, oh, yes, It very much takes it down to its, like, most debased self, and it just looks at a character and just lets it play out, even if it's uncomfortable. We don't have to end comfortable. We don't have to start comfortable. We don't have to be comfortable.
Yeah.
And such a great showing of what that can mean when it comes to storytelling. So, if you want to be restless in your seat or pacing the room... Yeah. I was literally pacing the room while I was watching, especially in the third act. I'm like... Like, I know-ish what's going to happen. I'm still just like... It's... amazing. Too sweet.
Excellent. Kind of.
What about you, bro? What you got on the recommendation train?
I'm gonna rep some less uncomfortable and more bombastic Cyberpunk Edgerunners. It is kind of something I was expecting to absolutely bomb out, but it was made by Studio Trigger, who are known for making shit that it just goes. They all gas. There are no brakes on this train, and they make some of the best animation you're gonna watch ever. Like, if you want to see shit explode and people just blood, guts, and tits flying everywhere, Studio Trigger has got you covered. Boy, howdy. Like, they made Gurren Lagann, they made Kill La Kill. Like, they go hard in the paint. God bless them. And Cyberpunk Edgerunners is, like, I've seen one episode. It is a little bit hurried. Like, I wish they gave it 13 episodes, not 10, maybe. Mm-hmm. But, like, you go for the style, you go for the violence, you're getting satisfied. It's got a banging soundtrack. It's... The one thing it does do that I appreciate is it does not fucking linger on shit it doesn't care about. It's like, alright, you see it? Good, go. Like... I do appreciate when a show wants to be high octane and commits to it. Mm-hmm. So I've watched the first episode and I'm pretty on board. I've heard nothing but good things about it, and so far, I've heard the first episode is the weakest, and after that it just gets stronger. Okay. It's like, okay,
that makes sense. Why I kind of dipped on it after the first episode.
Yeah, the first episode's not particularly great, but I've seen enough clips in the show. I'm like, I want to see this. Like, I'll commit to this hard. Let's do it. And it is short enough that it's like, 10 episodes, 200 minutes. It's like 3.5 hours, basically. So, it's not that hard to just kind of blitz through if you want to.
All right, fine.
All right, before we call it a day, do you have any musical recommendations for
I
people?
have a lovely lullaby, perhaps even.
Oh.
It's not a lullaby.
Okay.
It's called Love from the Other Side by Fall Out Boy. It's their most recent single EP that dropped, and it is they're definitely going big. So talking about bombastic, it is definitely hitting hard and coming in heavy. So if you're looking for a Fall Out Boy ballad, that's all you, baby. Take it to the bank.
Well, all right, that is going to be it for us. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and if you liked this, please feel free to
like,
comment,
share,
and subscribe.
But don't forget, new episodes of Super Pros Bros come out the first and third Saturday of every month.
Bye.